He walked out on her and their kids, one Thursday morning suitcase rolling across the floor, like it already knew the way. No big fight, no goodbye kiss, worth remembering, just a lie about a last-minute business trip. That's how it started. And that's how Claire's life got split into two pieces, before he left and after. Claire had been standing by the sink drying dishes from the night before, planning how to stretch what little money was left till Friday. Their son Jacob, only 8, was bouncing with excitement about pitching in his Saturday game. Their little girl Emma, 5 years old, sat on the couch, glued to cartoons, begging him for candy. And Daniel, her husband of 10 years, just smiled that photo-ready smile, brushed a crumb from his tie, and promised he'd try to make it. Then he peeled Emma's arms off his leg like she was just some inconvenience, kissed the air near Claire's cheek, and was gone. That door clicking shut should have been nothing, but it echoed like a warning bell she couldn't unhear. At first, she tried to shrug it off. Husbands traveled, families coped, things would be fine. But the quiet in that house felt wrong. By Saturday, Jacob pitched the game of his young life, striking out a boy twice his size, and still kept looking over his shoulder, waiting for his dad's cheer. It never came. By Monday, Claire called Daniel's office, only to hear a stranger's voice say, "Oh, he doesn't work here anymore. His last day was 2 weeks ago." That was the gut punch. He hadn't just left for a trip. He had left. Period. The next days unraveled like a cruel joke, an unknown number texting her photos of him smiling with another woman, his belongings missing from their home, a storage unit in his name across town. Then the final message, "He's with me now. Don't call again." That night, Claire sat in the hallway outside her kids' rooms, head against the wall, listening to the hum of a fridge and the whisper of pipes, making a decision that would carry her for years. If he wanted to vanish, fine. But he wasn't going to take her dignity with him. She'd hold the line for Jacob, for Emma, for herself. The next 5 years crawled. Every bill, every fever, every late shift, cleaning offices, or serving breakfast at the diner, she carried it all. She learned how to fix the car when it coughed, how to stretch groceries till the weekend, how to clap loud enough for 2 parents at every game and recital. She used to think Daniel was the backbone of their family. But the truth hit harder. With every year, she was the backbone. By the time Jacob turned 13, tall and lanky, and Emma reached 10, with eyes as sharp as her mother's, Daniel had become more ghost than man. They didn't say his name often, but his absence lived in the small spaces, Jacob watching other dads toss baseballs at the park, Emma pressing her face into Claire's arm at school plays and whispering, "Did you clap loud enough for both of us?" Then one afternoon, an envelope arrived. Heavy cream paper embossed with gold, the kind people use when they want the world to think their life is perfect. Claire didn't need to check the handwriting. She knew it instantly. Daniel. Inside, it was worse than she imagined. A wedding invitation. His wedding. To a woman named Rebecca, and scrawled in his familiar slanted letters, "It would mean a lot if you came." For 2 days, Claire just stared at it, half laughing, half sick. The nerve of that man who never called on birthdays, never paid for school clothes, never once asked about Jacob's asthma flare-ups, now wanting her to sit in a pew clap politely while he vowed forever to someone else. But then a thought grew like a spark catching flame. Maybe she would go. Not broken, not begging, but standing tall. So he'd see what he walked away from and what he could never break. The wedding day came on a Saturday in a hotel so polished the glass doors looked invisible. Claire wore a simple black dress, pearl earrings from her grandmother, and a touch of lipstick. No competition, no spectacle, just herself whole. When she stepped inside, the string quartet, Played laughter floated and gold ribbons draped over rows of chairs. And there he was at the altar, looking sharper, younger, like life had only polished him more. Rebecca stood beside him, picture perfect in silk. But when Daniel's eyes landed on Claire, the laugh drained from his face. He froze like he'd seen a ghost. Her heels clicked down the aisle, each step tightening the silence. Guests turned, whispers rising like wind before a storm. She didn't sit. She didn't smile. She simply said, loud enough for all to hear, "Hello, Daniel." Gasps. Rebecca's smile faltered. The officiant shifted awkwardly, and Daniel whispered, "Claire," like her name had turned into a knife. She tilted her head calm. "You look surprised. You invited me, didn't you?" Rebecca's voice cracked through the tension. "Jonathan, what's going on?" Daniel stammered. "It's complicated." Claire gave a low laugh. "No, it's very simple. 5 years ago, this man walked out on me and our 2 children. No warning, no support, no goodbye. Just gone." The crowd erupted with murmurs. Rebecca snapped her head toward him, eyes wide. "You have kids." Claire's words sliced through the hall like glass. "He never told you. Just like he never told me he quit his job before vanishing. Just like he never told his children why their dad stopped showing up. I raised them alone, every bill, every doctor's visit, every game and recital while he built this little fairy tale for himself." Daniel tried to speak, but she cut him off, pulling an envelope from her clutch. "And for the record," she held it up, "this is a copy of our marriage certificate. Legally, Daniel, you and I are still married." The silence shattered with gasps and whispers. Rebecca's face drained white. "You told me you were divorced." Daniel reached for her hand. She yanked it back. "You lied. To me, to them, to everyone here." The officiant's voice trembled. "Mr. Reynolds, is this true?" Daniel stuttered. "We've been separated." "No." Claire snapped, her voice sharp as steel. "You didn't think about the kids. You didn't think about promises. You just ran." Rebecca shook her head, tears threatening her perfect makeup. "This wedding is over." She ripped her hand from his, lifted her dress, and marched out. Bridesmaids and her mother trailed behind, glaring daggers. Daniel hissed at Claire, low and bitter. "You didn't have to do this in front of everyone." She leaned closer, her voice only for him. "I didn't have to. But I wanted you to feel for 5 minutes what I felt for 5 years." And then she turned heels, echoing against the marble, the crowd parting like water. She didn't smile, didn't gloat. She just walked out, breathing air that for the first time in years didn't feel heavy. By the time she got home, her phone was buzzing nonstop. Someone had filmed it. "Woman crashes ex's wedding, drops a bombshell," the headline said. The video went viral overnight. Praise, criticism, gossip swirling everywhere. Some called her a hero, others said she should have stayed quiet. But she didn't care. What mattered was Jacob on the couch with his video game, Emma coloring at the table. When they asked how it went, she just said, "It was over quicker than I thought. I said what I needed to say." In the weeks that followed, Daniel's empire crumbled. Business partners cut ties. Rebecca's family pulled deals. His photo vanished from his company's website. He moved into a small apartment across town. A man who'd once been admired, now avoided. One night he called. His voice was small. "Claire, you didn't have to." "Yes, I did," she said flatly. "You ruined your own life. I just let the truth into the light." He asked about the kids. She told him they were fine because she made sure they were fine. Then she said, "When you're ready to be a real father, not just a voice on the phone, then maybe. Until then, no." And she hung up. Months later, a letter came. Apologies, regrets, empty words. Claire folded it and put it away. She didn't need his words. She already had closure. Because the real victory wasn't at that wedding or in the viral video. It was in the kitchen one Wednesday night when she came home exhausted to find Jacob teaching Emma how to scramble eggs, the smell of butter filling the air, both of them laughing. When Emma said, "We're making dinner for you, Mom. You work too hard." That's when Claire knew she had won. Not because Daniel lost everything, but because she and her kids had everything they needed, truth, love, and strength that couldn't be stolen. Betrayal destroys those who build on lies, but for the ones left behind, it can carve out a backbone they never knew they had. Now here's what I want to ask you. Was Claire right to stand up at that wedding to lay it all bare in front of strangers? Or should she have kept it private for her children's sake? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Because stories like this of betrayal, justice, and the strength it takes to rise aren't just stories. They're mirrors. And maybe, just maybe, they remind us how much truth still matters. And if you felt this story, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because every voice, every comment here helps us keep telling the stories that too often go untold.